Hey, this is James Goll, and I want to bring you a word of exhortation. And this month, I've chosen a theme, and it is Do Not Despise, a day of small beginnings. You know, we each need to hear this. At least I have at various times in my life. And I just had a thought that just came to me that I'm going to write down right now that I believe that I need to share with you about something that was a day of small beginnings in my life. Now, yes, I have a theme verse for us. It comes from Zechariah chapter 4, verse 10, and I'm going to give it to us in two different translations. First of all, from the New King James, which I'm pretty familiar with. It reads, let's see, what does it say? It says, "Who has despised the day of small things?" Well, that's the first half of the verse. Let's go now to the Amplified Version, where it reads more fully. It reads, "Who with reason despises the day of small things, small beginnings." Okay, that now I know has caught your attention. Because who is it that hasn't struggled with the difference between having a big dream but doesn't know how to get there? And you might feel stuck right now because you know that you have a God-sized dream on the inside of you. And by the way, I have been one of the encouragers maybe in your life to dream big, but then how do you get there? Because, how about this one? We did a little bit of research. According to Business Insider, 5 top mega entrepreneurs had small beginnings. In fact, Amazon, HP, Microsoft, Google, and Apple all began in garages. Now, we could even give you the names of these people, like, someone small like a Steve Jobs or a Bill Gates, and people of little bitty names. But I don't have to give you the names of all these 5 mega billionaires, do I? Because there's somebody in the Bible who had a very small beginning. And he will end up with the name that is above all names. He was born in an out-of-the-way place. And in fact, they were searching for a place for him. And they went to the city because, in fact, they really didn't want him to go there. He was being born as kind of like a, maybe out of wedlock, so it appeared. The circumstances didn't appear to be the best, with Mary, a teenager girl, espoused, as it would be, to someone who was a man who was a little older than her. We don't know how much older, by the way. And they go to another city to get registered because they had to, according to the law, and they couldn't find I want to use a word I'm not supposed to use. They couldn't find a place to habitate together because there was no room, as they call it in the Bible, in the inn. So they found a place. Outside a barn. And the creator of the universe, the Word incarnate, was born in a stable. Now that's called A small beginning. And do not despise the day of a small beginning. You know, I remember when I lived in Kansas City, I had not written one article. But I was the dean of the School of the Spirit of what was called the Grace Training Center. I walked out into the prayer room, and there was a lady named Linda Valen. And she became my first secretary. And I walked out into that room, and I ended up prophesying to her. And I said to her, "You're going to help me write my first outline, which will help me in putting together a set of, notes or something." Little did I know that I ended up putting together for a set of study notes. And she helped me. You know what that did? I took those study notes, and little did I know that I was going to get a calling to write. And so some of those study notes that you read today are the original notes that put together a series called The Seer. That's been translated into the book, The Seer. That has been translated in over 25 languages that's gone around the world. Do not despise the day of a small beginning. Now, did you know that just recently that I released a podcast about something called Signs of the Times, the Billion Soul Harvest has begun. And right at the point in time that I released that, do you know what just started? In Wilmore, Kentucky, at Asbury Seminary. Not the first historic outpouring, not just the second in 1970, but another outpouring of the Spirit has just started in out of the way in the country little town of Wilmore, Kentucky, in Asbury Seminary that has its roots in John Wesley. Another in the chapel outbreak of the Holy Spirit has started, and it's been going on for hours and days in length. And maybe it's still going on. Who knows? By the time that this word of exhortation goes out, all I know is this. It's perfectly timed. And it started at the very moment I released the podcast. The great harvest has begun. So I have a word for you. You might feel like that you're stewarding something that's very small. And you have a dream, though, that your life matters. So I have a word for you. Your life matters. And what you have in your heart matters. But you have something in your hand. Whatever it is, put your hand to the plow and don't give up. And do your skill with all your heart. Because do not despise the day of a small beginning. And do whatever you do with all your heart unto the Lord. Because it really matters. It really, really does. This is James Goll bringing you a word of exhortation, a little longer one than normal, but it really matters. Do not despise a day of small beginnings.